Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us.
Welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. Have you ever wondered what resources to use versus what resources not to use or to reference when you're trying to learn how to trade? With over probably 1 billion hours of trading materials on just YouTube and Instagram alone, it can get pretty crazy out there. So today we're going to discuss what kind of resources do we recommend for beginner and advanced traders. Levi, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jordan. I'm doing well. You're absolutely right. It can be really discouraging to surf around. If you show any and especially the way the algorithms work these days, if you show any interest in any topic, all of a sudden your feed is full of stuff, and it's full of just a bunch. Especially when it comes to day trade, just full of a bunch of contradictory stuff. Like everyone's telling you different things, everyone's telling you different strategies. And no, my strategy is the perfect
confusing.
way. It's crazy.
I mean, I can see why anyone who is a beginner trader, and you start looking up day trading. Now you start getting all this stuff showing up in your feed. The amount of stuff that's showing up, it's just absolute information overload. And you and I have both experienced this. Like, we think we know what we're doing, but then we watch another video, and then that video says this, and then we kind of incorporate that in a trading style at some point, and then we wonder why our trading sucks, because then we saw another video that then is showing something completely different, and then another thing, and just so much contradictory information and information overload that it can make it almost impossible to actually improve and actually become a good trader.
Well, it's interesting now that you say that. It's interesting because you have these two contradictory things where you're trying to, like, when you're learning a new thing, you do need to really, really dive in and hear other people's, wisdom, and take advice and read, and you really want to inundate yourself with the information that, you're a beginner, right? You want to hear what the experts say, and you want to learning any new thing, right? But at the same time, like you mentioned, it's really easy, especially since there's so much contradictory information out there. When you do listen or watch a bunch of trading stuff on Instagram or wherever or YouTube, wherever you watch, it's really easy. You start it starts messing with you a little bit. It can, if you're not watching the correct stuff or you're not reading the correct things, it can pressure you into feeling, oh no, I have to change, or you start changing your strategy to kind of adjust to what this guy on YouTube says. It's really common. Yeah. And so finding the question, I guess, we were hoping to answer today was okay, if we do need to fill our brains with really good information, how, is there any kind of safe information that we recommend, or at least stuff that is non-problematic, that you can read, that it'll give you a really good foundation, point you in the correct direction, but that isn't preaching a specific strategy necessarily, and won't kind of screw you up by kind of muddying the waters.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest, just bear this in mind. I think trading is probably one of the only industries where 99% of the information out there is wrong. I come from a medical background. I want to learn about anything medical. I can go online, and yes, there's some crazy medical kooks out there, right? But let's be honest, most of the information I find about, let's say, exercise or personal training or, injury recovery, it's going to be good stuff. Not so with trading. So to get into it, I'll kick it off. Mm-hmm. My first resource I would recommend anyone who's getting into trading, or who hasn't even started trading but just has a desire to learn more about it, is to read the book Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Now, I'll admit, when I first read this book, I was like, this is crazy. Trading psychology, why does it matter? This is just this is bull crap. I kind of bought into that. Just follow your rules and you be very disciplined and you'll be a good trader. Oh my word. I now reread it and listen to it on a regular basis. You can find the audiobook on YouTube if you want. And it's my first resource. I say Trading in the Zone is kind of the premier book on trading psychology and how your brain works when you're trading. So number one, read that, because you'll immediately understand and be able to point out then after you read that why a lot of these people that you're coming across on YouTube probably aren't actually real.
Yeah, this was actually that was actually the first book I ever read on trading, because that is, if you've if you've day traded for a while, that's kind of, it's one of the premier books. I mean, Mark Douglas, I mean, that's been around for a long time, and for good reason. He's not preaching a specific strategy in there, a strategy necessarily, but yeah, talking about how your brain works and how to best rein it in and make it work for you instead of against
How
you.
to
That's a
be in the zone.
how to be in the zone. Exactly. So yeah, that's a big one. One of the ones I wanted to throw in there, kind of this is a guy on YouTube, and this was one that was one of the first guys we ever heard that was different than everybody else. Was a guy on YouTube called I don't know how you pronounce it, but Iman Day Trading, or Iman Day Trading.
Yeah, I
IMAN.
am An. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the first guys we ever heard that kind of uh broke the mold of, hey, follow the candlesticks, follow your indicator and you'll make money. He was one of the I think he has a background in psychology. And he kind of comes at it from that angle uh where, hey, if it was as easy as following these specific candlesticks, he was one of the first guys I'd ever heard that said, hey, if it was just as easy as following the candlesticks and indicator, you could you could teach a monkey to do it, or you could teach an algorithm to do it. Like, why are you sitting in front of your computer if all you have to do is make some if all you have to do is write some algorithm that buys after a specific candle pattern? Like, what are you doing? This little meat little guy sitting in front of a computer, when a computer could do it a million times faster and better than you. And it was one of the first guys we'd ever heard say that, and it's really true. So he has a bunch of really good stuff for beginners on there that can, I think, help you get your mind right. And he live trades on his second account as well. So that's a great resource, and one that's I'm telling you, really unique. There's not many other people talking like that. So great resource.
Yeah, no, he's a great resource. And yeah, most of his, as you mentioned, most of his videos are not around actually trading, so to speak, more than the psychology and debunking a lot of the misnomers around it, especially around the psychology of it. So great listen, all of his resources.
Yeah, which again, I think the best trading resources should be, right. They should be,
Yeah.
if you're talking a specific strategy, it can actually screw you up, right. It can, like we mentioned earlier, it can mess you up badly if you're talking to other people. If you're listening to people who are talking about specific strategies, it can actually skew your strategy. Hi everyone, Levi here to ask you, if you like what you're hearing and haven't already, consider subscribing or dropping a review. We put this information out completely free, and we'll never ask you to buy a course, pay for a Discord, or any of the other garbage you're likely to hear from everybody else. So, if you think we've earned it, we'd be in your debt.
One other resource that I would recommend, and this is one of the few paid resources that I would ever recommend someone to actually invest in, but I felt was helpful for me, was Stock Sniper Trading. So these guys have a trading channel. They're day traders. They trade live on YouTube. You can actually look them up on YouTube. They have free live trading sessions. They don't pretend to be gurus. They're like, this is just us. All their courses, for the most part, are them talking while they're live trading, teaching you about pattern recognition and support and resistance and all the basics. A lot of the basics of trading, but in a real trading environment. They do all their trades live. You can watch them. They're really good. And I would highly recommend them because it's real. They're not just going and saying back testing. This is no, you're going to sit down with them and they're going to take you through the London market. They're going to take you through the New York market as it opens, tell you what they're thinking, what they're seeing. And it can really help you start understanding more about the market, because when you first start trading, you have no idea what the market's doing or why it's doing it, or what different things could be indicating. So highly recommend Stock Sniper trading. Definitely worth it.
By the way, we're not paid by them to say anything. And also,
No,
I've never
exactly.
paid for anything. I've never paid for anything. I've never paid for their stuff either. The thing I find value from them is that they do live trading on YouTube. So I would watch that, which can be helpful. Just watching it with someone else's eyes, right? I mean, the problem with most trading and most stuff you'll see on Instagram, YouTube, is that they'll go back and like show you, this is how the trade works, but they went back in time, like they knew what was going to happen. So it's easy to like go, oh, well, this candlestick showed that going forward, it would do this. Yeah, well, you saw it would do that. So
Yeah.
brilliant, right?
Yeah.
The value of those guys is, and anybody who does this trades live, that's the value of it. They're trading live. You can watch them. You can see it with another set of eyes of an experienced trader as they trade live, and that can be really helpful. I've never paid for anything,
Yeah.
but some people like paying for stuff, because they just can't help themselves. So if you do, then that's
Yeah,
a
it's all
fine resource.
they have everything in one spot, but Levi's absolutely correct. You can give it pretty much all the same information if you want just a basic understanding of day trading, etc. You can go on babypips.com. It's all free. You can go through their entire course. I mean, it took me probably a month to go through their entire course on baby pips, completely free, and it'll just give you a overview of how the markets work, why they work, what is forex, what are indices, how does trading work, etc. I think my last resource would be Trader Nick. So Trader Nick, again, tons of great resources for free on YouTube. Again, I don't trade. He's a swing trader. So some people here listening may want to swing trade. You may not have the time to day trade but swing trading. So you're taking longer term trades. And he's all about price action. He's not about indicators. He's not about all this weird guru stuff. And he will show you his losses. He will show you his winners. I will tell you, he does have a Discord group that he tries to charge people for. Listen, why are we paying people for Discord groups? I don't know. So anyone who's trying to sell you signals or Discord groups, just my hot take, it's bogus. The only people on these Discord groups and these, are people who are losers, and signals are just maybe fine. Like winning traders can give signals, but you're not the person trading it. So you can't trade just signals, because those signals are working for the person who's trading, not you. And beginners don't understand that just because an expert says, this is my signal, well, you can't just blindly take these signals, because that's not exactly how signals work. You have to know when to get in, when to get out. Why is it working? Why are you taking it? Should I get in at this level? There's so many variables. Signals don't work. So don't pay for signals. Don't pay for Discord groups. Put in the time, put in the effort, read the good resources, and that's what's going to get you. There's no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. And maybe we have a whole video on signals. Don't get me started with signals.
Yeah, I think you'd mentioned it. The reason you recommend him is because he's fairly honest about how
Yeah.
long it will take.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
honest about his win-loss ratio. Like it's very few and far between where you listen to somebody who's honest about how long it took them, how much they make, what you can expect from as far as, increase per month, right? Like it's hard to find people who are honest about that stuff, though we are, though the indicator Discord stuff is problematic. That one positive is nice. It is a little bit refreshing. So as long as you go in there with an open mind, it may be helpful for you.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime I hear someone being honest, I'm going to recommend them. Whether I agree with everything they have, it doesn't matter. You're being honest, you're being upfront, and you tell me, oh, yeah, it took me 3 years to become profitable. You automatically have gained my respect just by saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. So next time we're going to talk about some specifics about best practices, kind of setup, what we would recommend as a beginner to like kind of the nuts and bolts, computer setup, best practices, how to stay accountable, so on and so forth, training plan. We're going to get into that and make sure that you're set up for the journey that it is going to take, but make sure you're set up for the process of becoming a profitable trader.